Welcome to this explainer today. We're diving into something really fascinating. It's a universal habit. Literally every single one of us does it, but almost none of us ever stop to question it. We're going to unpack the psychology behind exactly why we judge people so incredibly fast. So let's just jump right in. Have you ever judged someone in, say, 3 seconds? I want you to think back for a second. Have you ever looked at someone and just instantly decided what kind of person they were? Maybe you spotted someone across the room and immediately pegged them as arrogant. Or on the flip side, maybe you thought, wow, they look super, kind, or really trustworthy, and this all happens before they even open their mouth to say a single word. It's wild how naturally it happens right now. We really love to believe that we evaluate people objectively. We like to think, oh, I judge based on cold, hard facts and all my life experience. But while the psychology from our source material tells a remarkably different story, actually, scratch that, it's completely the opposite. Your brain starts forming these complex opinions in about 1/10 of a second, long before you've even had a chance to say hello. Your mind has already written a complete, detailed narrative about the person standing right in front of you. All right, let's move on to section 1, the survival shortcut. To understand why we do this, we really have to look at our biology. And hey, you don't need to feel guilty about this snap judgment instinct. It's literally an ancient survival mechanism. You see, your brain is always on the hunt for shortcuts back in ancient environments. Carefully analyzing every single individual wasn't just impractical, it was downright dangerous. Figuring out if an approaching figure was a friend or a deadly threat, and a fraction of a second that saved lives. Now contrast that with modern life. We're exposed to thousands of people and faces every single day. Navigating all that data drains a massive amount of cognitive energy. So even though our environment has totally changed, our brains are still running that exact same ancient survival software to help us get through the day efficiently. Psychologists actually have a really great term for this. It's called thin slicing. Basically, thin slicing is your brain's remarkable ability to make surprisingly fast judgments using only a tiny sliver of information. We're talking literal milliseconds here. Your brain is rapidly processing a stranger's facial expressions, their posture, what they're wearing, their tone of voice, eye contact, even just the unique way they walk. Before you're even consciously aware you're looking at someone, your brain has already handed you a full impression of them. Okay, moving on to section 2, when shortcuts fail us. So while these shortcuts absolutely save us a ton of precious cognitive energy, they are prone to some pretty severe glitches in the modern world. Why? Because they rely heavily on assumptions instead of reality. Let's look at the halo effect first. Imagine meeting someone who's highly attractive, beautifully dressed, and just oozing confidence without you even realizing it. Your brain assumes they have all these other positive qualities too. Suddenly, you're convinced they're highly intelligent, deeply trustworthy, and super capable. But wait, you have absolutely zero evidence for any of that. That one positive trait essentially creates this glowing halo that completely dictates how you perceive them. But of course, the exact opposite is true too, which brings us to the negativity bias. If someone seems a bit nervous, makes an awkward first impression, or just accidentally says the wrong thing, our minds rapidly attach a whole host of negative qualities to them, and the reason for this goes back to our ancestors again. Noticing potential threats kept them alive, so our minds naturally prioritize negative info to keep us safe, because negative experiences hit us so hard psychologically, a single awkward moment can easily outweigh dozens of positive ones. It's pretty unfair, but it happens all the time. And this shortcut behavior also extends to how we categorize people specifically through stereotypes. Now, we usually hear stereotype in a negative context, but from a strictly psychological standpoint, they're essentially just mental shortcuts. Your brain groups people into broad categories based on past experiences, culture, media, and social learning. The huge flaw here, though, is that these shortcuts completely obscure the totally unique individuals standing right in front of you. Instead of actually seeing them, your brain frantically fills in the missing information using this massive backlog of collected assumptions, and as you can guess, this is often inaccurate and deeply unfair to the person. Let's head into section 3, the confidence illusion. This brings us to a really fascinating way our perception gets manipulated. We constantly mistake how someone delivers information for the actual quality of the information itself. I mean, we've all met that boldly confident, yet entirely wrong person at a dinner party, right? Research actually shows that people who speak boldly and confidently are widely assumed to be more knowledgeable, even when they are completely factually wrong. Meanwhile, someone who is shy, hesitant, or quiet is routinely underestimated, even if they're the ones with the actual expertise. Our rapid fire is just lazily read, confidence is competence. Let's look at section 4, the confirmation trap. So you might be wondering, why is it so incredibly difficult to shake off a bad or even good first impression once your brain locks it in? Well, it all comes down to the confirmation bias cycle. Step 1 happens when your brain forms its initial opinion in mere seconds, but it's steps 2 and 3 where the trap really springs. Once that opinion is formed, your brain actively goes on the hunt for any evidence that confirms its new belief. If you decided someone is friendly, you're going to vividly notice every single smile while completely ignoring anything that contradicts it. And if your first impression is negative, your brain does the exact same thing. Instead of objectively evaluating new facts, you get to know them. Your brain quietly and stubbornly protects that initial 3-second assumption. Finally, section 5, rewriting the story. Now, if this all sounds a little discouraging, don't worry. Simply understanding these cognitive glitches gives you a massive advantage. It literally gives you the power to consciously slow down the process and hit the override button on your own brain. The absolutely crucial point here is this: the next time you meet someone new, I want you to intentionally pause for just a moment and ask yourself this single powerful question. Am I judging this person based on facts or based on the story my brain created? That one single second of conscious awareness can make you profoundly more open-minded and way more accurate in how you see the people around you. Remember, your brain isn't maliciously trying to trick you. It's really just trying to make sense of a highly complicated world as fast as it possibly can. These mental shortcuts successfully kept humanity alive for thousands of years. But in today's complex society, speed doesn't always lead to truth. History is absolutely packed with stories of people who completely dismissed extraordinary talent just because of a poor first impression relying entirely on a 3-second judgment. Today might cost you the chance to hear a brilliant idea from the quietest person in the room. Or worse, it could cost you a connection with someone who might otherwise become your closest friend. Which leaves us with this final thought. The biggest mistake we make isn't actually judging someone quickly. I mean, our biology practically forces us to do that. No. The real mistake is believing that our quick judgment is the complete and entire story.